Welcome back to another episode of Let's Finally Grow. We back. We're always come back. The comeback is always greater than the setback. Let's get out all the weird shit in the beginning, get the energy out so we can be serious. I am not just a silly girl, I'm a serious girl too. I don't know why the fuck I needed to say that. The fact is that I didn't need to say that. And the irony on that is we're going to get into a topic today that has to do with things you just shouldn't fucking say. Learning when to keep your mouth shut. This is a good one, I think. This is a deep one for me. Your friends, people in general, need to figure things out for themselves. Whoa. I have been on both ends of this situation. I have been the friend that did not take my friend's advice and my life was so chaotic. And then I've been the friend who has overspoke and tried to want the best for my friends and guide them to what I thought was best. And in that dynamic as well, my life was so chaotic. Which, I mean, I'm sure you could assume I've been that person before. I'm talking on a microphone to people trying to help them. So I found an outlet. If anyone was wondering if I'm still doing that, I am not inserting myself in people's business that I don't need to. I am not giving advice to a single person anymore. I'm doing it on a larger scale. I've created a platform for it, and it's a more open, free, generic vibe. I'm not tailoring it to just one person and involving myself in their life, which is progress for me, to say the least. So when I was younger, like early 20s, teens, I definitely was the girl, especially in my romantic relationships, that would complain about the relationship to my friends so much. I obviously was looking for a sense of direction, help, but my friends would give me the sense of direction. They would give me their honest, loving thoughts. They would be there for me. They would show up. They would care. They would take the time out of their day to listen and be a good friend. And I would listen to them. I would hear them. And then I would go and do whatever the fuck I wanted to do, which was usually running right back into the fire of the relationship, not resolving anything, expecting a different outcome, and repeating the same cycle over and over again. And your friends can only do so fucking much and handle so much of what you're doing when they're seeing you actively ask for help, involve them in the help, in your situation, and then ignore the help, go right back to that relationship like nothing even happened and doing it over and over and over again. Your friends can only handle so much of that. And my friends could only handle so much of that. I dealt with so many complications with friends being so fucking annoyed with me, reasonably so. And I also dealt with me being annoyed with my friends because I felt like they were judging me, or I was misdirecting emotion, misdirecting anger, because I was in these relationships where I was repeating, not so healthy cycles, asking for help. And obviously I wasn't taking accountability for my own life. So I would misdirect the emotion to my friends. I would be mad at my friends, think my friends didn't want to see me happy, whatever excuses that did not involve me making changes in my life and taking accountability. And I harmed friendships. I caused more chaos in my life. And it was just a shit show all around. Now, that was the side from me trying to outsource help, never being willing to take the help, and causing drama in my friendships when there was already so much drama in my relationship, my romantic relationship, and making life so messy. Well, then I had one really toxic relationship in my early 20s. And when that relationship came to an end, I promised myself that like I would not be in a toxic relationship again. And I kept that promise to myself still to this day. Now, have I had weird situationships? Yeah, for sure. But I have not been in a toxic, romantic, serious relationship since then. So I kept that promise to myself. But that took so much time of me being alone with myself, putting in so much hard work that honestly, I could only do. I was the only person that could do it, and I fucking did it. It took years. It's still probably something I'm actively working on. Like, I don't think that anything ever stops when you once had a toxic pattern in your life. You have to make sure you remain on the other side of it. But since I turned my relationship pattern, my relationship style around, I made something that was once so unhealthy, healthy. I thought that I could help everyone in the fucking world. And to some degree, I still do think that way because remember, we're talking to each other on my podcast with me trying to help. But I became the person who would bend over backwards, involve myself in situations for people I was close with, people I wasn't even close with, like trying to help people get out of toxic situations. And I finally got to be on the other side, seeing how my friends were trying to help me and care about me, and dealing with people who were asking for the help, involving you for the help, but then not ready or willing to take the help. And it's a nightmare dealing with that. Like, it is being there for a friend is one thing. Being there for a friend is so important, and it's something that, it's the bare minimum of a friendship. Like, you're supposed to be there for your friends, but you are not supposed to involve yourself in your friend's life so much that you lose sight of your own life, and that the choices that they make are impacting you, affecting you, because you immersed yourself into their life to try to help them so much. I have dealt with so many situations where there were people there were people that were in toxic relationships, and let's just talk about a trauma bond. Like, you see someone going through that, you're like, oh my God, I've been there and I've got myself out of it. Let me help you. And you put yourself in this situation, and like, you care for people as if you would for yourself, and you let people lean on you and all. I have done that to such a crazy fucking degree. And what I have learned is that being on either end of the situation, being the person that is asking for the help but is not willing to take it and is involving people into their life and their problems to an unhealthy degree, or being on the other side of it and allowing yourself to be involved in someone else's life to an unhealthy degree and trying to help them, it is either side you're on of it, it's unhealthy, and you have to take accountability for your part, because you really just have to make sure that you get the fuck out of that pattern, you worry about yourself, and you don't let it happen again. It took me so long, but also there's so many moments inside of it too where you see things clearly. Obviously, the person that's going back to an unhealthy situation does not see things clearly. You're an outside perspective. You can see it clearly, and you can't understand why that person is constantly going back. And every time they come to you for advice, for help, you get a little piece of hope inside of you and you're like, oh my God, if I can help this person, let's fucking go. Let's get them out of it. And it just never works that way because the person always goes back. And it's probably because they're not trusting themselves. Like if you have to lean on someone else that heavy, you're not trusting your own choices. And you probably aren't trusting how you got in this situation, anyone that you go to for advice, the other person that you are genuinely in the relationship situation with. And then most importantly, you're not trusting yourself to make choices. So you're trying to lean on other people to have them make these choices for you. And that's just not how it works. You need to like not negotiate your self-worth with yourself and trust yourself to be able to make the hard choices. You think asking for help is going to be easier and it's going to push you and, you hear what you want to hear. And it honestly becomes like a weird addiction. Like when you are in the relationship and you're not feeling good about yourself, it's not an unhealthy situation, and you know that you're not feeling good. So then you outsource help. And it gives you like a sense of validation. You're like, okay, I'm not crazy. This situation is weird and I should be doing something about it. I shouldn't be like my intuition, my thoughts, all of it's not wrong. Like something's up here, something needs to change. And you almost get addicted to the reassurance and the validation of having another person tell you like something's up here. You should probably do something about it. You should probably get out of it. Save yourself. It's like a little piece of hope that makes you feel not crazy. But then you go back. Then you go back to the situation. And I think being on the other end of it and being the friend that is trying to help someone, you can't help but get so aggravated because you feel like you're wasting your time. You obviously care about this person and you invested your time into making sure that this person's okay. And you start to take it personally that this person needs to learn on their own, because that's really what it comes down to. It's that the person that is in the unhealthy situation needs to get out of it on their own. They need to learn on their own. No one else can drag them out of it. No one else can learn that lesson for them. When they are ready to learn that lesson, that's when they can get out of it. And being the person that's trying to help them, you're trying to force someone to do something in a way that just life doesn't work. So many friendships get ruined this way. And it's honestly so sad. I think what I take from it and what I've learned from it is that now I am the one setting the boundary in my friendships that I am so there for my friends, but I'm not going to think that I can do the hard work they need to do for them. What I can do as a friend is I can be so understanding that they may be going through a difficult time and relate in whatever way I can, but not advise them through it. And, if they ask for advice or what would I do, I would say it, but I would also say something in the back of my mind that really does allow me to still be on the outside of that situation and not immersed in it, because I never want to complicate any of my friendships by thinking I can solve their problems for them. That's just not how life works. I can tell them about, how I've learned and what works for me, and then they can do the same in return, like for me. Now, when I get myself into a situation where maybe I'm not seeing things clearly, I'm not the first person to run to my friends anymore to ask for help, because I know the price on both ends of that, of me running to a friend to ask for help and involving them in my life. That's a lot to ask for, and especially if it's continuous, especially if I already know what I'm going to do and I'm not going to take their advice. So if I go and ask my friend for advice on a situation, like normally I will just say something like, do I look dumb? Do I look dumb? Because I know inside that if I hear the word yes, that I look dumb, I'm like, that's fucking it. I'm running. I am running for the fucking hills. Something about it. I don't know. Do I look dumb? Do I look stupid? And if I get a yes there, I'm like, boom, we out of here. So if I do need to outsource in that way, I know that whatever my friends tell me, I can't, like, I am listening to it. I'm listening to it. I am not going to ignore it. And I want them to know that, like, their opinion, their advice, their time, their energy means so much to me. And I don't take that lightly. And I don't think people mean to take it lightly, but it happens so often that it is taken lightly. And I see it in such a different perspective, being on both ends of it now and like truly analyzing it. I was never trying to like take my friends for granted, and I also wasn't trying to solve my friends' problems for them. When I was the one who was asking for help, I genuinely just wanted help, but like I needed to figure things out on my own. And when I was trying to help others, I genuinely just wanted to help them without realizing they needed to figure things out on their own. You never want to feel like your friends are judging you for your choices. That is such an easy way to ruin a friendship, because let's be all the fucking way for real. We all are doing our best to learn our own lessons. We are all making mistakes. None of us are fucking perfect. And the more empathy we can have and the more understanding we can be, and the more we even just like allow people to make their own fucking choices, the better it just fucking feels inside, okay? Like, I want to be able to tell my friends the stupidest things that I've done and not worry about the judgment. And I don't want my friends to be so involved in my life that if I make a wrong choice, they're going to take it personally. And now it sounds like really fucking simple when we put it this way, but the reality of it was learning this knowledge that I now have was not simple at all. There was a lot of repeated patterns, repeated cycles, and friendships harmed in the making. I think this was so important to share because we really have to stop applying so much pressure on friendships with what we would do if we were in someone else's shoes, judging them to make ourselves feel better without recognizing, we've been there before too in our own way, and we're going to be there again. And how we should just be like motherfucking understanding. Like, we should not involve our friends in our business in a way that's unhealthy, and we shouldn't involve ourselves in our friends' business in a way that's unhealthy. We need to start fucking figuring things out on our own, and then talking about it with our friends and being like, yeah, listen to the stupid fucking thing I did, in a way you can laugh about it and be like, yep, lesson learned. It's just better that way. Owning our humility, being humiliating, and then loving our friends for who they are. However many times your friend needs to go back to a situation, let them, but also set whatever boundaries you need to for yourself to maintain that friendship. And if you need to keep it at arm's length, if your friend's going through something and you need to keep it at arm's length, that situation, that is so reasonable. Because at the end of the day, you need to take care of yourself, and your friend needs to take care of themselves. And tables do usually turn. Like, toxic patterns happen. People can stay in cycles for a while, but people usually do get themselves out of these bad situations, and you want to make sure that like the friendship is still there, that when your friend is doing better, when you are doing better, you can still have that friendship there because you did not risk it involving someone too much in your situation, or involving yourself too much in another person's situation. Rainbows and butterflies, life is fucking perfect. Let's keep it moving. So let's worry the fuck about ourselves and let people figure things out on their own without judging them. That's all she fucking wrote today. Thank you so much for listening. We will talk soon. Mwah, 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 mwah.